We have spoken about Grand Admiral Thrawn in the previous video, looking at his history and what made him the best of the best, but Thrawn wouldn't be Thrawn without his infamous Star Destroyer and the fleet it commanded, so that's what we're talking about. Who is seriously sending me a whole call right now?
Hello there.
Huh. Since when were Imperial droids supposed to make holo calls?
My designation is K-RM2 and I am an Imperial security droid.
Oh, we couldn't tell. Listen. What do you need?
Well, Major, High Command has assigned me to keep tabs on all the work going on here within the Imperial academic sector, and they figured it would prove beneficial for me to step in for areas where your slow, pedantic, and fragile organic cognition would otherwise fail to provide enough information regarding a subject. Or, to put it in galactic basic standard, you're probably out of the picture soon.
Okay, well, first of all, that's no way to address a superior, and second of all, what do you know about the Chimaera then?
That information has been wiped from my memory banks, I'm afraid.
Droids. So ignoring that little experiment from High Command,
You cannot ignore me.
the Imperial 1 class Star Destroyer Chimaera was the personal vessel of Grand Admiral Thrawn and the flagship of the 7th Fleet, which, to set the scene, I think we'll talk about first before the Chimaera. The 7th Fleet had a terrifying amount of firepower that most would not want to be in the opposing end of, consisting of 9 Imperial 1 class Star Destroyers, not including the Chimaera, and 16 Imperial 2 class Star Destroyers at any given time. The fleet as a whole packed some of the most up-to-date and advanced ships the Emperor could provide, including Architons, Interdictors and Gazantes, for those situations that require just a bit more adaptability. This was no ordinary naval fleet, with each of its ships decked out from stern to bow in armaments capable of turning most cities into craters. This fleet is one that would bite, and when it did, it bit hard and fast, having firepower only the prestigious Grand Admiral himself would know how to use effectively.
Don't forget about the infantry forces.
I thought your memory about this was wiped.
Turns out the HoloNet is pretty handy.
That's not a reliable source of information. It's filled with brain-dead Imperial bootleg.
The Chimaera had its very own Death Trooper squad. If you know anything about these guys, they are foreboding, giving Thrawn protection from some of the most well-trained and highly experienced troopers. So for those wanting to get close to him, tough luck. And that's not even counting the combined forces of every Stormtrooper division occupying each vessel under Thrawn's command.
Shortly following the disappearance of Thrawn and the Chimaera over Lothal, the 7th Fleet had to be quickly scrambled and reassigned to focus on the Galactic Civil War. Not much information has been released on its situation currently, but I think that's a telltale sign that we should move on to the main event. The Chimaera is an Imperial 1 class Star Destroyer. So what? The Empire has thousands of those, you may ask. Well, this one was modified and relatively fresh off the line too, being gifted to him by the Emperor upon becoming a Commodore. It was a foreboding ship that sported an array of upgraded armaments and tools to get the job done. But the thing that really makes this vessel stand out would be the striking insignia of a Chimaera on the hull, and you know what? Hey, droid.
My designation is KR...
Yeah, cool, whatever. Why don't you tell them about the Chimaera's symbol?
Well, the logo itself depicts a giant three-headed creature, simply known as a Chimaera. Not much is known about the creature itself, what it is, where it comes from, we don't know. But what is known is that the symbol itself is used by those within the Rapak system, located in the unknown regions, which is where Thrawn came across it during his time within the Ascendancy, making a friend with one of the inhabitants of that system and, out of respect, adopted the insignia on his own vessel. Touching.
To add to that, this species was known as the Pekosh, who found themselves at the mercy of a highly invasive and conquering race known as the Nicardun. The Pekosh managed to survive their subjugation and remembered Thrawn fondly when he encountered them during their troubles, offering gifts to him for his help during their war. These gifts also included the symbol of the Chimaera. Sitting at 1,600 meters in length, the Chimaera did not have a traditional set of turbo lasers like other Star Destroyers. Instead, it had 8 barreled turrets overall, 4 on each side. meaning that it did not pack as much a punch in one shot, but could instead overwhelm an enemy vessel with turret fire. Along with that, it sported the usual number of ion cannons and batteries of any other vessel of its class, so not exactly a pushover.
Other specs include a tractor beam to subdue fleeing ships for immediate destruction, a powerful set of Gemon-4 ion engines from Cygnus Spaceworks, and an impressive armoured division and troop carrying capacity for situations where we took on enemies toe-to-toe.
So to finish off, what about the Chimaera's story? Well, as I said, the ship was gifted to Thrawn when he was promoted to the rank of Commodore, and since then has been under his command for a good few years, doing a lot of work against the early rebellion.
Traitors!
I'm not so sure about that one, droid. I kind of respect their tenacity.
You're the only Imperial to have ever said that.
The Chimaera was involved in the battle for the Scrim Islands on the planet of Baton, firing its cannons from orbit and into the ocean around the base, causing a tsunami that wiped out the rebel fortress. The battle ended when the insurgent leader Night Swan was killed in an explosion, causing all rebel forces in orbit to retreat and offering a swift and decisive victory for Thrawn and his fellow fleet members.
Following this, Thrawn was promoted to Grand Admiral and was given the responsibility of hunting down and capturing the rebel terrorist group known as the Ghost Crew. Uncovering the rebel hideout on Atollon through a series of investigations, this ultimately led to Thrawn wiping the rebel base off the face of the planet through a ground assault, hoping to have this incursion dealt with then and there.
But as you all probably know, that did not happen, as the rebels managed to slip away while the 7th Fleet was distracted by Mandalorians. While Thrawn and the Chimaera were busy trying to secure funding for his TIE Defender program on Coruscant, back on Lothal, the rebels were preparing to relinquish the planet from Imperial control.
Taking over the Imperial Command Center and taking all infantry forces hostage, the rebels were going to launch the structure into space.
That was until Thrawn returned and took things to the extreme and started bombarding the city with cannon fire from the Chimaera, forcing Ezra to surrender himself to Thrawn. This resulted in Ezra going to confront Thrawn on the bridge and, well, you all know what happens next. Ezra
Purgles.
Hyperspace.
And the Chimaera was never seen again.
Hey, droid, where do you think the Chimaera went?
Well, considering the possibility that he has not returned yet, it's likely that it ended up somewhere of limited map data, making hyperspace travel an impossibility. But given the total ratio of mapped and non-mapped space, we can adequately conclude as to whether or not the vessel is or isn't.
Overall, that about does it for the Chimaera. I think you get the gist of it. This ship was truly unique and quite striking, especially when compared to other vessels of its class. The Chimaera had a very promising history and an even more promising admiral at its helm, and without him, this ship wouldn't have been all that special. So, with that, why not like, subscribe and share this video to start your journey into the Empire today, and with that, long live the Empire and may the Force be with you.